You now listening to the UrbanWire podcast on the UrbanWire Media Network, where we shine the light on the issues impacting the urban community. Join us as we discuss the latest in news, politics, social commentary, celebrity news, gossip, interviews, and so much more. This podcast and other podcasts on this network are available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, and Blog Talk Radio. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/UCOFW and join our Facebook group page and official page for show updates, discussions, and show listings. Email us at ucofw.indy@gmail.com to advertise with us, submit show ideas, and other business inquiries.
Hey, I have a question for you. Are you too busy to keep your chores done? Well, leave it to Crystal Clean. Crystal will help you keep your place clean, balanced, and in tip-top shape. Crystal will arrive fully equipped with her own cleaning supplies, positive energy, and ability to work some beautiful magic into your life. Keep your home your sanctuary and take away some of that stress and worry. You can message her or text her directly to schedule a service at 317-603-5897. Crystal is now specializing in residential and office cleanings, and she's also now servicing Central Indiana, Hamilton County, and Greater Indianapolis. Check her out today.
C's Treats LLC is a decadent sweet shop that creates exquisite desserts for any occasion. Whether it be for an anniversary, birthday, special event, etc., C's Treats has you covered. C's Treats LLC uses the most freshest items and the best chocolates, caramels, and products in the world. Every bite of C's Treats will leave you wanting more. She's located on the west side of Indianapolis, and you can connect with her on social media. She's on Facebook and she's on Instagram. Reach out to her via email at cstreets38@gmail.com, or you can contact her at 317-664-2609.
All right, y'all. Welcome to another edition of the Urban Wire, episode 112, where we shine the light on issues impacting the urban community. Check us out. We are on YouTube at www.youtube.com/UCOFW. And also, you can check us out on our Facebook group page. That's the best way to follow us, because we're going to have a lot of updates coming up. We're still working on Urban Wire Media Radio, so we're going to be hopefully launching that early sometime next year. I just wanted to jump on real quick tonight and do a quick show. This show is going to be entitled "The Media's Agenda to Denigrate the Black Community," and I just wanted to do this quick topic because I kind of had some inspiration. I was following somebody on YouTube, and they kind of mentioned this briefly, but I wanted to kind of bring it to you guys by the name of Quadir Howard. But he kind of got the hamster wheels kind of spinning in my mind, because I look at what the media is promoting today as far as our celebrities, our politicians, just everything having to do with the Black community. And sometimes I wonder, why are they promoting certain people, even our power couples, like people that are in the entertainment industry? I noticed that a lot of these people are very dysfunctional. Like even the people that are millionaires, even some of our billionaires are linked up with crime. They're linked up with the street life. And I'm just wondering, why is it that these celebrities are being pushed and they're being shown in the media as a representation of the Black community? And I just want us to really kind of look at that and kind of think about that today. And then, is it a part of a greater agenda? Because sometimes I feel like, is this the government's way or the media's way of kind of like downplaying our plight? Because if they show us in a negative light, will that kind of diminish our claims of needing things such as reparations, police reform, and everything else? So I really want to go into that today. And just to let you guys know, this is not going to be a really long episode. I just want to bring this topic to you guys, and I might have some other people join in. If not, we're just going to keep pushing through. But this is something that has not, this has been going on for decades. This is not something that just recently started. But with all the craziness that we've seen in the media recently, like just like people like Nicki Minaj and her husband, and Cardi B and Offset, and all these people like what's that, like Krishan and Blueface, all these crazy people like in the media, and these are supposed to be the representations of the modern Black family, like, and then we look at these people, like these people make millions of dollars, and they're pushed upon us like these are supposed to be the people that we're supposed to idolize as the quote unquote Black family. We've always seen this, like even in the 70s, like a lot of these shows that depicted Black people as being on welfare, being downtrodden. I wonder if this is the media's way of kind of diminishing us and making us look like fools. Let's be honest about it. Let's be honest with it. And I really think a lot of times we idolize these celebrities as idols, like, especially to these younger people. This is the way that you're supposed to conduct yourself. This is the way you're supposed to carry yourself. Like the young women, are the women supposed to be walking around scantily dressed? You know what I mean? With baby daddies, baby mama drama, all this stuff. You know what I mean? We have to really question, because let's be honest with it, most of Black America, we do not live like that. And that's why you have a lot of people overseas and in other countries, or people that come here, they automatically have this image of what Black people are, or how we conduct ourselves. Even people in this country, because there's places in this country where there's not a lot of exposure to minorities in general, but specifically Black people, because we're talking about Black people tonight. I feel like a lot of times people will run into you and they already have this preconceived notion that we're all ignorant, we're all criminals. You know what I mean? Like black women can't be regarded as classy. You know, they put the image out that they all, uh, in these music videos, they hardly got anything on. They just can't talk in English. You know what I mean? Just very, very ratchet. Just the ratchet culture is something that is being promoted. And I was just wondering, if anybody wants to jump in the comments or anybody that wants to join the string, you're more than welcome. But I wanted to start this show off because I have a clip. Like I mentioned a few minutes ago, this is something that's been going on since even in the 50s and 60s and even beyond that. Like we go way back until how we were portrayed as, monkeys and gorillas and all that stuff, and how we were portrayed like with the black face and all that stuff. That stuff goes back to the 1800s. But there were people like revolutionaries such as Malcolm X that even brought this issue to the forefront in the 60s. And he even said that, brother, the late great Malcolm X, he even said how the black celebrities are used as puppets. So I want to go to this clip really quick, kind of outlining this. And then when we come back, I'm going to bring up another article about black representation from PBS, but I want to start off with this clip from Malcolm X just to show you that this is something that has been going on for decades. So when we come back from this, I'll continue our conversation.
I just told you a little while ago, these leaders that they call leaders, this included Lena Horne, this included Dick Gregory, and this included comedians, comics, trumpet players, baseball players. Show me in the white community where a comedian is a white leader. Show me in the white community where a singer is a white leader, or a dancer or a trumpet player is a white leader. These aren't leaders. These are puppets and clowns that have been set up over the white community and over the black community by the white community, and have been made celebrities and usually say exactly what they know that the white man wants to hear.
So as we saw that the late great Malcolm X was even bringing light to this issue even back in the 60s, because like they said, the black community has always had their puppets, like people that they put a little money in their pocket to sell out their community. And I feel like a lot of times I feel that these people are put in front of us so that the world will think of us as clowns. And especially today, like this whole situation, even with the Cardi B and Nicki Minaj situation and how they were acting a fool. And, you have people like Nicki Minaj, like these are women that are talented and they pick like the scum of the earth, like to procreate with and to represent them. You know what I mean? And it's just like when the world sees this, like, why would they think that we deserve reparations? Why do you think they think that we deserve police reform? And like, why would they take any of our plight seriously when this is the stuff that's being pushed to the masses? And I really think that this is a part of a greater agenda, because the powers that be knows that they owe us a lot. Like they owe us as far as reparations. They know we're a powerful group of people. So I feel like sometimes they try to downplay us by putting these clowns. Like you got people like Sukiana and like all these people, like hell, even Lizzo. Like if you guys have noticed like the artwork that I did for this particular episode, I had all these different celebrities like Will and Jada Pinkett. Like everybody thinks, oh, that's just a powerhouse couple, but really, I mean, they have all this dysfunction going on. They have all these like threesomes and entanglements and all this stuff. Like, why can't we find any couples that represent us in the black community as just normal everyday people? Like, you know what I mean? And it's just disgusting that we fall right into it because we support these people. You know what I mean? We sit up here, we idolize these people. We want to be just like them. We support them. And instead of us as a black community say, hey, we do not want these people representing us, we go right along with it. And we go out here, we buy their music, we go to their concerts, We want to dress like them. You know what I mean? We want to be like them. We want to emulate them on all, just in all aspects. So I really feel that we have to start controlling our own narrative because the media is not here to make us look good. You know what I mean? Like, hell, there's very few families I can note that I can remember on TV coming up. Like Bill Cosby and the Cosby Show was probably one of the few positive representations that we had of the black family. And that most black families we're you're gonna have dysfunction in every family, but most black families that are working class people, even people that are poor, you know what I mean, we don't live like that. We have some type of standard. Most people want the best for their kids. They want to send their kids to school to learn, get an education, graduate, and become productive citizens of society. But we don't see that in the media. That's not what they're pushing towards us and pushing towards our youth. But I want to go to an article really quick. In this article, I'm going to do a screen share. I'm going to try to see if this works. I've never done a screen share on this show. Let's see. And this article is coming from PBS. And we're going to share this. This article, I'm hoping that you guys see this, but this is coming from PBS NewsHour. And I think this is a very good article kind of outlining what we're talking about tonight, because we're talking about celebrities, but this can be tied into like news coverage and just generally just the media in general. This article is entitled "The Majority of Black Americans See Racist or Negative Depictions in News Media, a New Study Finds." So this was an article that was just actually put out on the 27th. So this is a fairly new article that was released, and it reads as such. We're just going to highlight some of these key points in this article. It states, in a new study, Black Americans expressed their broad concerns about how they are depicted in the news media, with majority saying that they see racist or negative depictions and lack of effort to cover broad segments of their community. Like I was saying, 4 in 5 Black adults say that they see racist or racially insensitive depictions of their race in the news, oftentimes according to the Pew Research Center. 3 years after the George Floyd killing triggered a racial reckoning in the news media, Pew took its first broad-based look at Black attitudes towards the news media with a survey of nearly 5,000 Black adults this past winter, and followed up focus groups. The survey found that 63% of respondents saying news about Black people is often more negative than it is towards other racial and ethnicities, with 28% saying that it's about equal. Quote, "It's not surprising at all," said Charles Whitaker, the dean of the Meadow Journalism School at Northwestern University. Who I can't speak tonight. We've known both anecdotally that through my personal experience with the Black press, that Blacks have long been dissatisfied with their coverage. There's a feeling that Black Americans are often depicted as perpetrators of victims of crime, and that there are no nuances in the coverage, Whitaker said. That attitude is reflected in a Pew study that 57% of respondents say that the media only covers certain segments of Black communities, compared to 9% who said that a wide variety is depicted. They should put a lot more effort into providing context, said Richard. We go up. Richard Prince, a columnist for the journalism newsletter, which covers a diversity of issues. They should realize that Blacks and other people of color want to be portrayed as having the same concerns as everyone else. in addition to hearing about news about African American concerns. So you guys can read the rest of that, but I just want to kind of just read a little bit of that article. I think this is a really good article, and they have some other links that kind of link to this article too. I think that you guys should check out. So this is long proving that a lot of us do not approve of the images that are being placed in the media about us. So it's just going to take us speaking out about this, and then with us that have platforms, it's our obligation, because the mainstream media is not going to do it. We have to put these stories out here. We have to put these narratives out here, and we have to bring this to the public and let them know that, hey, these are the real concerns in our community. This is how we really conduct ourselves. This is what matters to us versus what is being pushed up on us. Because you got to look at the media. Like it's a very powerful tool, and we already know in the system of white supremacy, they don't want us to have any type of power. And anybody that knows what the media is, it shapes our narrative. It shapes the world's narrative about any and every topic. So when we discuss is the media attempting to denigrate the Black community, yes, it is. Because I feel like, especially now with Black people waking up, especially with their stance against the Democratic Party, about, especially about all these other issues dealing with police brutality. We're trying to get our communities together. We're trying to address a lot of things, and they don't want our community to be empowered, and they don't want people standing with us globally. So that's why they'll stick all these ratchet hip hop. And I'm not, even with hip hop, they've bought that. They've taken that art form from us too and commercialized it, and they've gotten their little sellouts to go out here and push out this negative music and this image, because hip hop used to be a powerful tool in our community. It was about being awake, and it was about promoting positivity in our community, but that has been hijacked by the mainstream media. So we have to look at all this stuff. We have to look at it at from a broader perspective. And yeah, it's just crazy. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna go down my notes because there's just a couple more things that I just wanted to do before I jumped off here. But like with all these celebrities, like even we always like to follow the T with all the celebrities, like, but it's always us. They want to push the black on black crime thing. Like, you know what I mean? They never want to highlight when celebrities are, even the black celebrities, when they're doing anything positive. They don't want to highlight that. They'll show enough throw in the media, they'll throw it in our face that, well, this hip hop artist or this rap artist with gang affiliation, they killed this person over here and that person over there. You know what I mean? And this further pushes the agenda that, hey, if they don't even have respect for themselves, if they can't even live amongst themselves without killing one another, then why should we take them serious? Why should we even care about them? Why should we? These people are the scum of the earth. So that is the media's job. Like I said earlier, the media is a powerful tool, and they do not want Black Americans to stand up in their, their true purpose and their true power and reclaim themselves, because that's always been like that in the Black community. Anytime that we've tried to become self-sufficient, we've tried to build our own communities and things like that, it's always been us being undermined. So I want us to just kind of look at some of these things. We have somebody that just joined the stream. I think it's my cousin Rachel. We're going to bring her up here. And I don't know if you've been listening to this, listening to the show so far, but Rachel, have you been listening to what I've been talking about so far about everything in general?
Yeah, so I came in, I was watching on YouTube live, and I came in kind of the middle of it. So you were reading the articles right before you got into that. But just commenting and getting into you talking about how with the media, how it's infiltrated the hip hop scene, and with everybody with, within the Black and brown community, and how it is really, like you said. And I mean, I think it honestly goes back to, honestly, loving hip hop type stuff, not trying to be, but honestly, it just puts a lot of people out there as though, like, it just depicts like Black people can't have no conversation. They cannot have any type of correspondence without getting into any arguments or fighting or messing up people's establishments, when, the majority of people that we know don't even act like that.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Majority of the people that we are around don't conduct themselves in that manner, so it makes it 10 times harder, I feel like, for a lot of Black people to, it's like we have to fight to prove what the social media and what TV has depicted so much, and it's rough because of, with Mona Scott Young being being that executive producer of that show, being a woman of color herself, that it doesn't empower as much. And then they try to put the empowerment of women empowerment and coming together, but still end up in arguments and fights, So it's like, and it's like most of the people that we know are able to have a conversation, are able to articulate their feelings, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, I just definitely agree that the social media, that hip hop is, like you said, some kind of like these sellouts of, there's some phenomenal artists out here who don't get as much play because of the fact that they won't show their bodies. You know what I'm saying? Who are especially more so of the African American community. And I will put the Latino community in there too, because they treat them in the same manner, so yeah,
but they
it's
keep
just
us
really
divided,
hard
though. They keep us divided, and they want to
absolutely
make it, and I really feel like that is, like I was mentioning earlier, the media is a very powerful tool, and they recognize that. So they, instead of promoting positive images in the Black community, they put out these negative images so that the world will not, join us as far as our justice claims are concerned. You know what I mean? And that's why they look at us as the scum of the earth. Like people that have never had, like I was mentioning a little while ago, like people that's never really had exposure to Black people. They come to this country, they see what the media is putting out there, and they're like, why would we want to have anything to do with them? Why would we even take them seriously? Because like, even like, I'm gonna ask you this, like, and I don't know if you caught what we were talking about when I was talking about earlier. I opened up the show with a clip from Malcolm X, because this has been going on like way before. Like this has been going on since the 1800s, when they used to do blackface and all these other degrading images of Black people. But this was going on in the 60s, and Malcolm X was saying how the Black celebrity is being pushed out there, and they're nothing but puppets, and they're making it seem like that these people are supposed to be our leaders when they're really nothing but a bunch of clowns, and I think that he made a really good point with that. I played that clip earlier, but this is not something new. Like even growing up in my generation, it's like there were very few positive representations of like the Black family. Like we had the only show that showed us like halfway decent, I felt like, was the Cosby Show. But
the
like
Cosby Show,
yeah. And then some people say, well, Good Times was I don't think Good Times was a positive representation of our community. I don't think it was.
No.
Like I enjoyed the show, whatever, but it wasn't a positive representation of our community, because especially when it comes to Black family, because it always seems like they lived in poverty, and no matter how much they tried to get out of that or try to crawl up out of that, they were always pushed back down. Even with the Black father in the home, they weren't able to get up out of that. And I realized, like reading about some of those articles about those shows, like or seeing videos about that. I remember Esther Roll, and she was just doing the best she could back then, but she said that they really originally they wanted that show to be
a single black mother, and she said she wouldn't do the show originally if they didn't have a father in the home. So that goes to show you they have always pushed this narrative of dysfunction and poverty when it comes to the black family, and it still hasn't changed today.
Exactly. And it's like, especially with them, I mean, and that goes to show you so much too, that show was back in what, early 70s, mid 70s,
Right.
and they're still trying to get away with pushing out the importance of the black father in the home, even from that aspect of it. I don't care what people say. No, we don't, we don't choose our parents. No, parents are not perfect. However, they are so necessary and they are needed. Moms can't do what dads are supposed to do, right? Dads can't do what moms are supposed to do. Moms are nourishers and dads are protectors, and they are providers. So both roles are very important, because at the end of the day, most women, they marry their father or who they think they are, what they want them to be, and vice versa with men and their, and if they're marrying their significant others, so it's just crazy up on how much they want the, the broken homes of the black community, and showing that, on TV so much too, that that they don't care. And I agree with you on that, as far as, I like the show as well with Good Times, but it's like, how can they never get out? Every time they had an opportunity, it's like something happened to push them back to where they just have to stay. And it's like, if Good Times is about having good times, they should be able to show how they're able to get out too, with those opportunities. But yeah, they had some good, reference points, at the end of the day too. But I did like Family Matters as well.
Yeah. That's
it had its funny,
Yeah, that was another one. Yeah, I will say that was a really good one. And I feel like a lot of times they had to fight to even get, like, if you look behind the scenes, they had to fight to push those positive messages too, because the writers sometimes they want to take the show in one direction. And it had to take the people that were actually the actors and stuff like that to push back and say, hey, we don't want this negative depiction out there. So sometimes, I'm not going to say all of the celebrities, like all actors are with that agenda, because a lot of times if they're not with the agenda, they have short-lived careers. I don't know if you ever noticed that, but a lot of times when you don't fall in line with the agenda, then you become the troublemaker. You become the person that becomes ostracized, or your career is cut short. Like, I don't know how people feel like this. I do believe in there is an Illuminati, or something that's along that measure, where people have to play the game. They have to fall in line with the agenda, and if they don't, a lot of times their careers cut short, or they end up losing their lives, because it's. I mean, you even see what's going on with the entire strike now that's going on in Hollywood, and I'm thinking they said that's really starting to resolve itself, but it's a huge power structure behind the industry, and with not Hollywood. When I say media, that encapsulates the news, everything that we see, like as far as movies, television shows, the news, like everything, like, and it's all a tool. And it's a tool of white supremacy.
Not only that, it's also a tool of taking away everybody's ability to think for themselves. Instead, they are using very close. They're using very distinctive buzzwords on how to control the narrative, on how they want you to think about it. With the opinions, they don't want you to have your own. As far as that, most of the times it's a I don't know the word that I'm looking for. It's on the tip of my tongue, but it's very directed, you know what I mean? Or a very led conversation, right? To where, like, for example, back in the day, it's more so you would hear on the news a 38-year-old male, but now they're very put on the emphasis of a black man, a white man. So then you even see it on YouTube comments where people are like, you see a black lady on a YouTube video and other black ladies comment because they can relate. And then you have people that's mad that everything's not about race, and then they make it about race, right? Because that's the agenda that they're pushing. It's black versus white, and everything. It's a mess.
Oh, I said this conversation can go in so many directions. Like I seen an article,
Yeah.
and let me preface this whole conversation. When I say white supremacy, I'm not talking about all white people, because you do have some white people that are straight up allies, and I would say some white people that speak out more for us than we speak out for ourselves sometimes. Because even in the system of white supremacy will throw their own people under the bus if they don't fall in line with the program. So I just want to let people know this is not a program where we're racist, or we're talking about a specific group of people or a system that will tear its own kind up. You know what I mean? We even seen, like, if we go back historically, when you had back in the 50s and 60s, when they you had people that were speaking out against Jim Crow, and they were, speaking out against the rights for black people. You had white people that were allies too, but a lot of them were killed. So when we're talking about this system of white supremacy, we're talking about something very specific. You know what I mean? And like I said, the media ties all into this. This is one aspect of white supremacy, something that they control that. You know what I mean?
And might I say,
yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Might I say, and I encourage people to really just, a lot of that has to do with who we vote for. So I encourage people, don't just vote based off of any type of, I'm not telling you which way to vote for. Okay. I'm saying do your own research, because a lot of people in our communities do vote based off of just because our grandparents did or our parents did one way or another, without truly understanding what we understand. Because a lot of people, after they've done some research on left or right, they actually lean more toward left, or they actually lean more toward right than what they actually thought. But based off of what they've seen or what they've been hurt, what they've been told, they're just voting based off of generation versus beliefs, So really do your research on what is for you as an American person, and as you as to have your safety and have your rights that we're truly focusing on and trying to fight for. Really do your research.
And I was on to piggyback off what you said. Like, I think with the younger generation, I know there's been a lot of articles and a lot of light being shown on how the younger generation, I'm talking about those that are under the age of 50, we're now starting to I think a lot of us are starting to wake up about politics, and we're not easily swayed, because I think even with the Democratic Party, like, a lot of people are looking like, what are you doing for our community? We're coming out here and we're voting you in. And I'm not going to talk about just because Joe Biden, I don't even want to get into that, but I would even just say locally, because I don't even understand how we as a community came out and supported him. I understand, like, people wanting to get Trump out, but I feel like, look at this guy's track record. Like, some of the things that he passed, as far as he was responsible for mass incarceration and, like, the criminalization of drugs. And, like, now you see, I hate to say this, you see people that are dealing with the opioid crisis. They're not criminalizing that. They're not making these people, because most people that
this is an issue. They want to help people, but that's because it is bothering the white community.
Yes,
in that aspect.
And the thing is, most people that ended up on crack, they weren't bad people. They just got they just got into an addiction, and it spiraled out of control. And it's no different. And I just kind of find it crazy that okay, now you see that this is going on. You're not criminalizing that, which it should be criminalized. But why didn't you have that same compassion,
sympathy? Exactly.
Yeah. When we was going through that, and it's just crazy. Like, that man, like, I follow this guy named Philip Scott, and he made a good point. He said that you guys thought that Joe Biden really changed, because when he put a lot of that that stuff into motion. He was already up in age. So that man is not going to change that late in life. And it's just like, yeah. I don't know. Did you see that situation where he attended Biden attended the hip hop I guess they had like a 50th anniversary of hip hop. They were doing a celebration of that, and he was referring to LL Cool J as a boy. He slipped up and called him boy. So I mean, his racism and his ignorance always comes out. Like now that he's older, they have like a lot of clips of him like kind of messing up and just saying like things that culturally insensitive things. So this man has never changed. I never felt comfortable with him being in office, but I think, and I'll be honest, like I was one of those people that said, man, we got to get Trump out. Like he's the lesser of two evils. Biden is the lesser of two evils. And you know, I'll be honest with you, I voted for him, but I just felt that at that time there weren't any other options, and I was like, well, what are we to do? But it's to the point now. I don't want to ever tell people not to vote, but it's just like I'd rather vote for a third party candidate, or I'm not going to say sit it out, but it's just like we got to start just leveraging our vote better, because at this point they're recognizing that Black people are the foundation or the base of the Democratic Party, and like all these other groups that they've catered to, they don't even come out in record numbers to vote for the Democratic Party. Like nothing against immigrants. I'm all for people that come over here the proper way, but you're allowing all these illegal immigrants to come into the country, and then you're pushing them into Black communities that are already struggling, like in New York and Chicago. They're spending millions upon millions of dollars to take care of these people, but then you have crumbling cities. Like these cities are crumbling. You're not putting any resources into the communities of people that are actually citizens of the United States, the taxpaying citizens. You see what I'm saying? And it's just crazy that he was able to pass an Asian hate crime bill, but when it came to us, and the numbers show like that we are the group of people that are being targeted. You see all these mass shootings and stuff like that. Like, where's our protection? Why are you not doing anything for our community, but yet you depend on us to get you back into the office every time?
Oh yeah, it's like it's an expectancy because of the fact of who he was with before. I mean, this is more of a personal opinion, okay? I feel like that our VP was nothing more than a playoff to act as though this was a part of the community. Haven't heard from her, about her, you know. Do your research as well, because up until then, that wasn't like it was, you know, she was claiming the community, okay? Let's just be real, but I feel like it was a playoff just to get the vote. And because of the fact that I feel like in the Black community, a lot of times we are taught to base our decisions off of emotions versus being critical thinkers about things. You know, it got to the heartstrings. Oh, it's a woman VP. Oh, she's Black. Oh, let's get her in there.
Yeah.
And where's she been? I ain't seen her. Have you?
No. I haven't seen her come out to, and I understand as the vice president, you could be more vocal about things.
Yeah.
I mean, with you being the sidekick of the president, you could have gotten his ear and said, hey, we need to push this. We see Black people, then we need to kind of introduce this legislation to help them out, or X, Y, and Z. She has been silent on everything.
Everything. And it's just my opinion that she was just there to be the face for the Black community because of the Democratic Party. I feel like they feel like they found their niche because of, you know, because of how Obama got in office twice, you know, and then you have this, now Biden's back. Now all of a sudden he's back. Why didn't he vote when people wanted him to at first?
Yeah. And,
you know,
and I feel like too, I just feel like we should be insulted as the black community, because I feel like they make us feel like, oh, well, they can come and shuck and jive, they can tootsie roll, they can pop, lock, and drop it when it comes to election time. Oh yeah, I'm black like you.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if you remember Biden when he was campaigning for the 2020 election. Remember, he went on the Breakfast Club show and said, well, you're not black if you don't vote for me. You're not black. You talking about blackness. Like, how dare you? Like, that's insulting to me. Like, how dare you define blackness? How dare you try to imply that we're all a monolith? Like, we don't have, you know what I mean? Like, we don't have different values. Like, we can't I don't know. Like,
it's like that. He said it like we as black people owe the Democratic Party something. We owe them the vote, and for what?
Yeah. So I'm like you. I'm not going to tell people which way to vote or what they should vote, but let's just even take it off of the national election. Let's look at the local.
The locals, yes.
Might not like it, but I think that we need to kind of start looking at the black church too, because the black church is a big tool in this. Because a lot of times, I know black churches, especially with the Democratic Party, they push these candidates in front of the church. They have them come and say, "Oh, we got such and such here. Y'all need to go out and vote." And they know that the black church is a powerful. It's a, what's the term? How should I frame this? It's a, regardless with all the things that's going on, the scandals, it's a powerful institution in our community. So they know if they can get in front of the congregations and if they can use the black preacher to push these candidates to the people, then they'll go out and vote for them. And what oftentimes happens, and I'm not, oh God, I don't even want to go here because I don't want to start calling names. But there's certain politicians here in Indianapolis that you hear from only during the election season, and then once they get into office, we don't even see them anymore. The only time you hear from them is when somebody is, if there's a funeral and they'll send us some little condolence, like something. But
I know exactly
I'm
who. Yeah, but it's the truth. Because, and that's the sad part, because of the fact of who their ancestors, we'll just put it like that, so we don't say any names, but who their ancestor was, who actually was very active, what I mean, in the community. And so it's just like, are you just in here and are people just voting to re-vote you in here by name only? Because at this point, what are y'all doing? What are we doing things for?
Exactly. So I want to move on because I got a couple more points. We just gonna jump off here because I just want to be on here for at least about an hour. Just do a quick little show because last week I canceled the show. But I mean, if we go beyond it, that's fine. But I just want to just give the people a little something to think about this weekend. Because I know this Saturday people got stuff to do. But getting back to the topic that we were about the show, I was wondering, do you think in the media, do they try to push sexuality or over-sexualize black people, or they over-sexualize celebrities, or they push this agenda out here that you have to be over-sexualized in order to be seen or heard? I mean, what do you think about that?
Oh, I mean, absolutely. Y'all see, I mean, you see the outfits that be on some of these TV shows. You see how, man, like people are literally walking out of here with panties and bras, and people are acting like they've dressed like they are $5 million. And it's like, I'm sorry, but that's not, like, you can be elegant and be clothed. And, it's like more so if they want the money, basically they gotta show. And it definitely pushes that. I definitely think that it pushes so many agendas of, I feel like it definitely pushes a lot of agendas, especially with our young people, with our kids. It's just trying to, I feel like it's just trying to desensitize in ways, right? To make it normal.
Right.
And it's just, it's a dangerous place to be in, especially with people who try and keep their kids from try and keep them from seeing a lot of things. They're being exposed to so much, at early ages. But yes, I mean, they're exposing kindergartners and first graders to things that it's like, you should leave these things up to parents to introduce them to and to teach those things, because every parent doesn't teach the same everything. Every parent does not have the same values and beliefs.
Right. And I feel a lot of times too, like I think a lot of parents, they leave their kids to, like, they don't, things that they like you mentioned, like things that they should be learning at home, they leave the school.
Yes, I think it is a double up.
And I feel like that's how a lot of things are being pushed, because they know the parents, they using the school as a daycare. They're not instilling values or things. There's certain things that your child should know before they go to school. And a lot of times these parents are sending these kids to school and they don't have basic social skills. They don't have any morals and values. And that's why a lot of these kids can go to the public schools, get into the public school system, and they can be sucked in. Like, and I believe in the school to prison pipeline. And that's how a lot of our specifically Black youth get sucked into that school to pipeline thing, to where you're already in the system, to where they're setting you up to be in the penal system or the prison system. Because a lot of us, we don't get involved with our kids. We leave it up to the schools. And I'm not going to say, sometimes a lot of parents got a lot going on today, because with everything as expensive as it is and everything that's going on, the cost of living, sometimes parents just can't. It's difficult because they have to work 2 or 3 jobs. They don't have the support. So I'm not going to say some parents are just neglecting their kids, but I really feel like they need to kind of take more of an active role, because you don't know what's being pushed in these schools. You don't know how they're treating your kids. And I feel like it's a free-for-all when we send our Black kids to school, because they realize that, they realize all this. So another thing I want to bring up earlier, that when we were talking about reality TV, and I feel like this is a trick bag that they do. They say, oh, well, you say you guys don't have millionaires and we don't have Black people that have money being in the media, but then they push shows like Real Housewives of Atlanta. Well, these women are supposed to be the upper echelon of society, and they got money. But you see how they still act, though. And they see how they push out that the image that Black women are argumentative. They can't come together. Everybody jealous of each other. It's all about materialism and this, that, and the other. So I feel like even though they're pushing out people that have money, these are people that are very dysfunctional still. And even with, I'm gonna go back to this, the Nicki Minaj's and the Cardi B's and all this stuff. Like, these are the people that they're pushing out to. They're propping these people up, especially these Black women. And you have the younger Black women or girls coming up saying, well, hey, I want to be like her, but I got to do this, this, and this, and I got to conduct myself in this certain way in order to get to her level or get to her status. So I think it's very tricky these days. That it's not a black and white thing. They try to, I feel like now they are kind of making it a little more complicated to where we can't put a finger on. I said, well, you can't say we're not putting Black people that don't have money and power in front of you. What about Nicki Minaj? What about Cardi B? I'm just using them two, those are the biggest ones.
That's the main ones we be seeing. Yep.
And I mean, it's just sad. I look at people like, even I notice how white people post or white supremacy put they'll promote people like that, or they'll promote people like a Lizzo. I know some of y'all gonna get mad about that, but this is what they're pushing, because Lizzo is a caricature to most black people. Like, we don't support Lizzo like that, because we know that she is a clown to us. But to white society, they look, oh, Lizzo's such a good person, this, that, and the other. And Lizzo played right into the trap. And now look at her now. They throwing her up under the bus. So that's how a lot of times they use these people up. These people that they throw out to us, they use them up because these people are sold out. Let's be honest with you, because they sold out. They sold themselves out. They sold the community out. And then once they get done with you, they got to take you out.
Yep.
You see that? So I'm telling you, it's deep. Like, I mean,
it is. It really is.
I don't care what anybody says. It's an agenda to denigrate our community, because when they devalue us, or they bring the value of us down publicly, the whole world starts to take on that viewpoint. You see what I'm saying? So
I think that's really how they are. Don't want to interact with us hardly, you know. Be surprised when we say hello to them and smile.
They think we ready to rob them or something, or we about to jump
right on. All the time that we actually thinking the same thing about them.
Yeah. And that's
I'm being funny. But
let's be honest though. But that's they put out these negative images on them too. It's not just us, even immigrants. People. So that's why we think the way that we think about, some of us think about them, because it works both ways. They're programming.
The trust is just broken. They've broken the trust of the people, of humanity.
Yeah. But before we get off here, what do you think are some of the solutions? Because we've talked about the problem, but what do you think some of the solutions are to this? Like, what can we do? Because obviously, a lot of us, we don't have the resource or the power to go up against a lot of these against the media in general. But what can we do to kind of like fix this problem? Like, do you think that people that have platforms like this, do you think we have an obligation to address these issues, or people on the grassroots level? Do you think that we have an obligation to speak out? How do you think that we should go about trying to address how the media is trying to denigrate the Black community?
I mean, absolutely, because I mean, people have platforms on all different levels, and people are still reaching on all different levels. So it's important to start to open it up to every level. You know, there's people who are celebrities who understand and know what's going on in the community because they've lived it and they stand against those things, you know. So I think a definite part is, for one, bringing awareness. You know, once you're aware, then you can choose to still be ignorant to it, but a lot of times it causes people it piques interest to where, you know, like I said earlier, do your research on, you know, what these things are, what these shows are. Like, you know, a lot of times, like with, you know, for example, like Love and Marriage Huntsville, it started off with different groups of couples of Black people who were in business and just doing things together. But then it just shows the brokenness of homes, of, you know, a man stepping outside of his family, breaking up a family dynamic, right? Then people arguing still, kind of like how you said with Housewives of Atlanta. You know, you have these elite people. So it's just all about doing those research and knowing that, you know, I don't know. I guess kind of understanding the difference between the real and fake, because Love and Hip Hop to me is none other than an urban soap opera that they try and use parts of real life of these people's lives and then create this whole story and scenario, right, of different events that happen. But it's all about, definitely with the media, it's all about doing your research. Don't just take the news media's word for it, because a lot of times they're trying to put in just buzzwords of stuff and have you have your own opinion, but do your research about things. I mean, in all organizations, even like for different organizations, even Black Lives Matter, do your research on different stuff on what they're actually doing for the community, if they are, especially if they're saying that they're doing it.
Wow, that's a
do
good
your
one there.
research.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go back to this. For those of us that have platforms, like even on the grassroots levels, because I see a lot of us, like some of us are just I mean, I was be honest with you, some people in our community are just very despicable, and we have to start delineating ourselves and separating ourselves from certain people, because you have people with independent platforms, even on YouTube, that, because I know a lot of people now are starting to do reality shows on YouTube and stuff like that. And it's just like, you can't even blame the white man at this point, because y'all sitting up here promoting this stuff like some of the most despicable like reality shows I've seen on YouTube. It's just like, y'all, instead of, I know everybody likes a little drama, but y'all don't even try to tie it into a bigger message or something like that. It's right. I think that a lot of us that have our own platforms, we're not choosing to do right by those platforms. And I feel like these people need to be called out, because if you're willing to sell your community out for a couple of dollars, because that's all you're getting is a couple of dollars, then we need to start calling people like that to the carpet. Because you know, they don't even have to do, a lot of times the powers to be don't even have to do anything to us. We're destroying ourselves a lot of times.
We're destroying ourselves. Yep.
Yeah. So I think it's a very complex issue. But I feel like you said, one of the biggest things we can do is do our research. And those of us that have a voice in the community or that have platforms, we have to start taking responsibility on what's being put out there. We have to challenge these narratives, and we got to kind of start showing the people a better side of our community, because it definitely exists. But if we're not using our platforms and being responsible with our voice, then, you know, we need to be held accountable for that. So
yeah, I agree.
Yep. Well, I think that's a good place to wrap up the show. I didn't know if you had anything else that you wanted to add, but I just wanted to do a quick show today, because that's been something that's been on my mind this week. Eventually I am going to do another installment of the wait a minute, Black Scandal in the Church, because we did that, me and C did that show last year. But I think there's a lot of things that I want to get back on there. I was going to do that last week, but it was just a lot of things that came up. But we're going to eventually do another edition of the Black Church Scandals, because there's a lot of stuff that's been going on. And in the Black church, is just looking like a circus these days. And that's not what it used to be. You got people like Juanita Bynum. I know you heard about that $30,000 that
I did watch that video.
Yeah.
And and the thing about it is, it happens in different communities of churches too, because it's no different, honestly, to me, than like the whole with Joel Osteen. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I ain't trying to be fun. It's just like, you know, and
I think it's a mega church.
We'll definitely get into we'll definitely get into it, because broken people are still broken no matter where you are. You know what I'm saying? So for sure. But that was a sad situation.
Yeah. Before we go, do you have anything going on that you want to announce to the people?
I'm trying to get into the works of actually doing a gospel concert, but the date is to be determined. So, but I'm excited for that. Yeah, it's something that's definitely not in the city.
On the show. Yeah, we'll
for sure. For sure, it's just an open space
y'all got
for people.
Something going on, just let me know.
Yes, definitely an open space for people, you know, who's trying not to compromise, not trying to compromise sobriety, just different things, different battles they've overcome, you know. So we just want to have an open space and a free space and a clear space, you know, for people to enjoy themselves, have fun, but, you know, not compromise their sobriety and all of that. So
that's a whole conversation there. Because there's a lot of compromise and honey, people getting caught literally in compromising positions, but we ain't gonna talk about that right now.
Yeah, I know. But I'll definitely message you with an idea as far as that is
Okay.
concerned, though, that we were just talking
Okay.
about. So yeah, but thank you for having me. I enjoyed it.
No problem. All right, guys. This is the end of the episode. This has been the Urban Wire, where we shine a light on issues impacting the urban community. Once again, check us out on our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/UCOFW. You can support us financially at $UrbanWire through Cash App, and also follow us on Facebook. Follow our Facebook group page, because that's where we get a lot of the tea. We to let you know what's going on, when we're going to be posting episodes, and we're trying to get back on the regular schedule and stuff like this. This has been some really good shows, but like I said, thank you all for listening. Thank you, Rachel, for coming, and we will talk to you here soon.
All right, bye.
All right, bye-bye.